thing, right? Like they should have had this stuff explained to Adrian throughout the movie, because I didn't know anything about boxing. I was like, what the hell just happened to this movie when it ended?
I can see that. You know, it's like in Casino Royale when they like over-explain Texas Hold'em. They need a scene like that. You know, in Rocky. But here, the thing about Rocky, right? It's not about boxing. It's about life, right? I know that sounds like the most pretentious thing ever to say, but it's about this guy and who boxing is what he does, but it's who he is. But it's in that franchise though, right? It had Rocky won a Best Picture, right? And it has 8 sequels. Okay,
really,
and only one of them is bad. You know, I mean, that is amazing. And to that point, that is kind of goes to your school of thought, Brandon. Like, just keep pushing through it. You know, this one was bad, but the next one was great. You know, and,
8 sequels.
Well, yeah, because there's Rocky 1 through 5, then Rocky Balboa, which is Rocky 6, and then Creed 1 and 2, which is basically Rocky 7 and Rocky 8. And it takes you through this guy's life from when he's the star to he kind of passes the baton over to this other character. Who's the son of a supporting character in the first films. So
I do that, yeah.
It's just so well done and so well thought. And those movies, they have no business being as good as they are. You know,
Which
and
is
they
the bad
are.
one?
Rocky 5.
Rocky 5. Yeah. Is that the one with Dolph Lundgren, or is that...
No, that's Rocky 4. And then there's Rocky 5. Nobody talks about that. And then there's Rocky Balboa, which came out like 12 years ago. Which was, if you're like, are you kidding me? Another Rocky movie? Because it was like 15 years after Rocky 5. It's one of these long delayed sequels, and it was amazing. And then 10 years later, Creed comes out. Like, are you kidding me? Rocky 7? It was even better. It's one of the best movies of the whole franchise. And then Creed 2 came. I mean, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know, man. It's gonna be fun to go through these franchises, but just looking at a franchise that spanned 40 years and really only has one dud, that is amazing to me. And a Best Picture winner in there.
I'm looking forward to that one because I've only seen the first one, so you know, like there's a few franchises that I can't wait to hit because I've never seen them. Like Lethal Weapon, we were texting earlier. I've only seen Lethal Weapon 3 and like parts of Lethal Weapon 1. You know, I saw Lethal Weapon 3 in the theaters, like, what was that, 91 or 93 or something like that? Yeah, I don't know why they took us to the theater to see this movie, and, you know, but I don't know. That was my first experience with Joe Pesci, so.
Yeah, I've never seen a Die Hard movie.
I've never seen a Die Hard movie either.
Well, and we're sitting here, we have a podcast about movies. We've never seen a Die Hard movie. They're going to take our credentials away, Brandon.
No, that's what we're here for. We're going to fill in the gaps. People can follow along. They can let us know what they want to see, and we'll get to them. I mean, like, there's so many great ones, and that's the fun thing. It's fun. We'll go over the stuff we love. We'll get exposed to some new stuff that we love. And we'll expose you to Children of the Corn 4, which will be your new favorite movie of all time. And
let me ask you this, Brad. You're a positive guy. You're one of the most positive fans I know. So this might be a tough question for you, but is there a franchise out there that is like your least favorite franchise? Like one you stuck with and watched, and you're like, man, they just should have stopped. You know? Like I know you're a positive guy, so this is a tough question for. I have an answer for this. But I don't know if you do. Yeah,
I don't know. Like. Oh, that's a hard question because I don't know. I don't tend to think of them that way. Like, you know, all the franchises that I like, I own all of the movies for them.
Right.
You know, like, well, I guess, I guess I never finished them. So I guess if I had to say one that they probably should have stopped, because I stopped after number 3, would be Hellraiser. I never went farther than Hellraiser 3.
And is it, that's a franchise that started going direct to video. That's always a red flag. But fair enough. For me, it would be Pirates of the Caribbean. Okay. They should have stopped at the first one, right? That movie is based off a theme park ride, right?
Yes.
And that was an amazing first. It took everybody by surprise. It took the studio by surprise. Disney had no idea it was going to be the success it was. It put Johnny Depp back on the map. That's why we're on Johnny Depp overload the last 15 years, right? It's because of Pirates of the Caribbean. If they would have just left that at one movie, that would have been like the next generation's Princess Bride, I think. You know? Just like a fun fantasy adventure movie that everybody has a good time with and reminds you of that theme park ride that everybody loves or at least is familiar with, you know? And that could have been that, right? But instead, it's this like old, tired franchise where they roll out Johnny Depp and he does his old Jack Sparrow act, which is way expired now. Okay, the shelf date on that is way past, and the sequels were not good, and they brought back but two standalone adventures with just Jack Sparrow, and it's like, and what I was talking about earlier in our conversation, to me, all these kind of weigh down the original movie. You know, when it could have been just this fun one-off fantasy adventure that you watch it on the charter bus or at church camp, right? You know, it's just something like that. And instead, it's for 5 going on. I'm sure there's going to be more, you know. But that's when I just wish they had left well enough alone, because I really love that original movie, and just all the baggage that everything else brought with it just kind of, unfortunately, like, it kind of sours it for me. So
okay, see, I remember, I've only seen, I think, the first 4. I don't know how many there are now. So I don't know how many there are now, but I remember thinking that they got better with each one. But I mean, like, they're also ones that I've never ever bothered to rewatch again because I just didn't like them that much. But I remember thinking that they got better. With
that would be
movie.
that would be a fun one to revisit, to be honest, because I love the original and I have it. Mm-hmm. But I have not. I watched 2 and 3 at the theaters. I didn't really care for them, and I didn't even bother with 4 or 5. Mm-hmm. You know, so that'd be a fun one to revisit, because you're right. I haven't really. So I haven't given the 4 and 5 for sure a fair shake, but who knows?
See, I'll tell you another reason why we got to be able to do 2-parters.
Why is that?
Tron.
I'm waiting on Tron 3, right? Disney's
Tron Legacy was
Disney's
so
going to announce it any time now. Tron 3. The reason, thank you Tomorrowland for bombing, so we didn't get Tron 3, because Tomorrowland, a live action Disney movie, right? Mm-hmm. Between that and John Carter bombing back to back, Disney's like, crap. These live action movies aren't working out for us. Let's go buy Marvel and Star Wars and never make an original property again. And then Tron just left in the dust. I love both Tron movies. I grew up watching the first one, playing the video game with my parents, and Tron Legacy. I enjoyed Tron Legacy quite a bit. If for nothing else, for the soundtrack, justifies its existence, right?
I think Tron Legacy is better than the original myself.
Oh, I think it's a better movie for sure. Mm-hmm. if you try to sit and watch the original and you don't have the nostalgia factor going for you, good luck. But Tron Legacy is a very entertaining movie. So yeah, I'll give you that one for a duology. So
excellent, right on. Well, is there anything else you want to talk about for our discussion here tonight?
No, I think we laid some groundwork and some rules for what we'll be doing. You know, a little taste of you and I's takes on franchises and if they should keep going or if they should stop and things.
They
of that
should
nature.
Always keep going.
They should always get. Well, that's the thing, right? I mean, I say this, right? I'm like, they should have stopped at this, right? What if they had stopped Star Trek at Star Trek 5? Which I like Star Trek 5 more than most people do. Okay, but if that would have been the last Star Trek movie, then we've never gotten Star Trek 6. And then people would have laughed about the Star Trek movies ending on that note forever, much the same way they do about Star Trek The Next Generation. At the end, it was Star Trek Nemesis. So,
stupid Nemesis.
Anyway, that's the thing. Just keep pushing on, I guess. And so I'm very contradictory in what I'm saying here, I know, but it's shown to work. You know, like if there's a good enough idea, right? Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. They have to come from having an idea first, and then you make the sequel. You don't say, well, this one made a lot of money, so guess we need to make another one, right? That's how we have fatigue in our franchises.
Okay, excellent. Now, maybe that could be our stinger, like when we finish it off, keep on keeping on. Until next time,
we'll work on that.
On.
We'll work on that for a bit.
Excellent. Okay, well then I'm going to throw one last wrench in the equation here, Zach. Guess what?
What?
You get to choose our first franchise.
Oh, boy. Do I have to choose it right now?
Yes, you do.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, what an honor. I didn't expect this question, folks, so forgive me.
I know.
I'm going to say Mission Impossible.
Okay.
Dun, 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 dun,
okay.
Dun, 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 dun,
Number
dun,
6 just
dun,
came out.
Dun,
you know what? That's actually kind of good because I watched 3, 4, 5 with Aubrey.
He's waiting for me to stop singing. Anyway.
I am, yes. I watched 3, 4, and 5 with Aubrey. She really wants to see 6, and I didn't want to go back and watch 1 and 2 with her, but she really wants to see 1 and 2. because Mission Impossible 2 is just awful.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's the
Just
one dud.
terrible.
The one dud in the franchise, in my opinion. So
Yeah, but
so 6, the movie of the summer, in my opinion. Really.
Oh, it was so good.
As of this recording, 2018, and it literally just came out on home video, and that's why it was kind of on my mind, and that was in the back of my head. Like, we definitely need to talk about these at some point, because that's another franchise that has no business being as good as it is.
Yeah.
So that is why I want to pick it for our first franchise on Franchise Fatigue.
See, I've seen the first one, I think twice, and the second one twice, and the rest of them I've only seen once, and I just saw them all this summer for the first time. I had given up on that one after the second one, and I just kept thinking, like, what is wrong with people? What is going on here? And I had absolutely no interest in seeing any of the Mission Impossible sequels after 2 until the Fallout trailer. That trailer, like, at first I rolled my eyes because I'm like, really? Another one? And then I saw it a few more times because I went to a fair amount of movies this summer. And I'm like, every time I saw it, I'm like, man, I really want to see this movie. And so I picked up, Walmart had the 5 Blu-ray set for $32 Canadian, which is like 15 cents American. And, and
I don't think the conversion is quite that good, but yeah, something like that.
But, I picked them up and I watched the first 2 and then I watched the next 3 with my daughter. And, what I liked about those is that they were a decent rating that I could watch them with her, and my daughter's 8 for the listeners, right? So, I like sharing this stuff. I like sharing these movies that I like to watch with her, and that'll be another fun thing.
Yeah, Children of the Corn Part 4.
Yeah, I can't wait to show her Children of the Corn, when they kill all the adults. Like, this will be great family fun. There's some that I can't, right, obviously, right. But those Mission Impossible ones, I could. And
yeah, they're intense and they're adult, but they're sanitized enough.
Yeah,
right? They are the reason you go see movies on the big screen. That's what these are, right? They are what James Bond used to be. Mm-hmm. I'm saying it right now, right? So I'm really looking forward to talking about those and the journey from that thing started in 1996.
Yeah.
Okay, this franchise is over 20 years old, and it is stronger than ever. And that is itself. It has no fatigue. Mm-hmm. It's amazing.
Neither is that. What's his name? Travolta. Not Travolta. Who's the star of that?
Tom Cruise. John Travolta. All right,
I'm not good with names, listeners. I'll do my best here. So.
We should talk about the Grease duology at some point while we're at it. Yes, there's a sequel to Grease.
Well, but to make it 3, we'll throw Saturday Night Fever in there, too.
Perfect. Yeah, people won't know the difference. So.
Excellent. Right on. Well, Zach, why don't you tell the listeners where people can find you when you're not getting tired of your franchises?
Well, you can find me on Twitter personally at MoronZach. That's MOOREONZACH. And I'm also the host of my own podcast, Always Hold On to Smallville, where we talk about each and every episode of that young Superman show, as well as all things Superman over there. You can find us on Twitter at Always Smallville with 1 S. And I'm also a host of Standard Orbit, the Star Trek Original Series podcast on the Trek FM podcasting network. You can find us on Twitter at Trek FM.
And my name is Brandon Matella. You can find me on Twitter at Brandon Matella. Imagine that. And I'm over on the Trek FM network with a couple of shows that I'm on a hiatus with Warp 5 right now, taking a bit of break. But I'm also doing Melodic Treks once a month, which is a podcast all about the music of Star Trek. And you can find me over on the Fandom Podcast Network and in my own independent feed with Good Evening, an Alfred Hitchcock podcast. And me and my friends Chris and Tom are going through all of the Alfred Hitchcock films in chronological release order. And as of this recording, I'm just a few days away from recording The 39 Steps, which is a really good movie. So I'm looking a lot forward to that one. If you want to find the network, you can find us on Twitter at UFP Earth. And if you'd like to send us an email, please send it to the following email address, contact@ufp.earth. At this time, I'd like to thank very much the executive producers of Franchise Fatigue, Tony Robinson and Ken Tripp. I'd also like to thank Zach Tripp very much for his amazing intro music for the show, as well as the intro music for our United Federation of Podcasts little stinger at the beginning and the outro little stinger as well that you'll hear just in a little bit. Well, until next time, when we take on our first impossible mission, should you choose to accept it, keep on keeping on.
This podcast will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
Beep. beep, 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 beep.